I've always loved stories that don't just pull you in, but make you stop and think about yourself, about why you're watching, about what it all means. You know, the kind of art that feels like it's holding up a mirror asking, hey, what's going on with you? For me, Squid Game is exactly that kind of art. It's thrilling, it's intense, but it's also got this way of making you question your own fascination with its violence. With season 3 just dropping on June 27th, I've been thinking a lot about the VIPs, those creepy, masked elites who watch the games and how they feel like a reflection of us, the audience. This video is my personal riff on why I love Squid Game for pushing those buttons and how it fits into my obsession with art that challenges us to look at ourselves. Let's get into it. I've always been drawn to stories that mess with your head a little, not in a preachy way, but in a way that makes you wonder about your own choices. Like there are movies out there where characters practically turn to the camera and ask, why are you still watching this? Think about films like A History of Violence, where one act of violence spirals into this whole mess of consequences, making you question what it means to be a hero. Or Taxi Driver, which dives so deep into a character's psyche that you're left wondering why you're rooting for someone so broken. These stories don't just entertain, they make you confront your own relationship with violence, whether it's on screen or in the world. That's what I love about Squid Game. It's not just a show about desperate people in deadly games, it's a show that asks why we're so hooked on watching them. When I first binged Squid Game, I was all in. The stakes, the characters, the way it builds tension, it's like a roller coaster you can't get off. But as I kept watching, I started feeling this weird mix of excitement and unease. The show's violence isn't just there for shock value, it's there to make you think about why you're so invested. I remember the tug of war game in season 1 where teams are literally pulling for their lives. My heart was pounding, but afterward, I felt almost guilty for getting such a rush out of it. That's when the VIPs really caught my attention. The VIPs in the first season are these ultra rich folks in animal masks, lounging in their fancy room, betting on which players will survive. They're so detached, treating human lives like pieces on a game board. It's chilling, but it hit me hard because it felt familiar. Aren't I kind of doing the same thing? Sitting on my couch, getting caught up in the drama? There's this one scene in the glass bridge game where players have to choose which panel to step on. Knowing a wrong move means falling to their death. The VIPs are up there, sipping drinks, cheering like it's a sports match. I was on the edge of my seat, but seeing them made me pause. I'm watching these people risk everything, and I'm enjoying it. It's not like I'm betting money, but I'm invested in who makes it across and who doesn't. That realization made me uncomfortable, and I think that's exactly what the show wants. Fast forward to season 3, and the VIPs take things to a whole new level. They're not just watching anymore, they're in the games, wearing those pink guard suits, and get this, they're killing players themselves. I read that the show's creator Fan Dong-hyuk said in the interviews with The Time that VIPs take their masks off and go into the game and kill others with their own hands. They're not hiding behind their wealth or anonymity anymore. They're out there, hunting players with machine guns, laughing as they do it. When I watched that scene, my stomach dropped. It's one thing to watch violence from a distance, but to see the spectators become the ones pulling the trigger, that's a gut punch. It's like the show is saying, you're not just watching, you're part of this. It made me think about how my love for the show, my choice to keep watching, might be fitting into this cycle of violence as entertainment. What really gets me is how Squid Game pulls this off without feeling like it's wagging a finger at you. It's not saying you're a bad person for watching, instead, it's inviting you to reflect, to ask yourself why you're drawn to the story. That's what I love about it. It's art that challenges you without preaching. It's like the show is saying, hey, you're here, you're watching, let's talk about what that means. And it's not just Squid Game. Other stories do this too, like those films where the violence isn't just for thrills but to make you question your own reactions. I think that's why I'm so drawn to this kind of art. It's not about easy answers, it's about starting a conversation with yourself. The cultural impact of Squid Game adds another layer to this. The show's everywhere: memes, merchandise, people joking about the games on X or Twitter. I've laughed at those memes too, like the ones about the red light, green light doll. But then I wonder, are we diluting the show's message by turning it into a joke? Or is that part of what the show's trying to point out? That we can take something as dark as this and make it fun? It's a weird tension. On one hand, I love how the show has sparked so much creativity and conversation. On the other, I can't help but feel like we're sometimes missing the deeper point. Season 3 really drives that home, especially with the VIP's actions. It's like this show is asking, are you going to keep laughing or are you going to think about what this says about you? Hwang Dong-hyuk also mentioned in the Time interview that the VIP's new role reflects how people in power today aren't hiding anymore. They're out in the open, declaring their control. He even said some of the VIPs remind him of figures like Elon Musk, who's both a tech giant and a public showman. That stuck with me because it makes the VIPs feel even more real, like they're not just a metaphor for us as viewers, but also for the systems and people shaping our world. It's a reminder that the show isn't just about fictional games. It's about the real world dynamics we're all part of, whether we're watching Netflix or scrolling through X/Twitter. As I watched season 3, I kept coming back to this question: why am I so drawn to this show? I love the characters, especially Gi-hoon, who's fighting against this brutal system. I love the tension, the way every game feels like a life or death puzzle. But I also love how it makes me uncomfortable, how it forced me to confront my own enjoyment. There's a scene in season 3 where Gi-hoon looks completely broken, staring out at the chaos around him. It's a moment that hit me hard because it felt like he was carrying the weight of all this violence, and in a way, so was I. Watching him, I felt this mix of empathy and guilt. I'm rooting for him, but I'm also part of the audience keeping this show alive. What I admire most about Squid Game is how it balances being a thrilling drama with being a piece of art that questions its audience. It's not trying to shame us, it's inviting us to think about our role in the cycle of violence as entertainment. That's what makes it so powerful to me. It's not just a show, it's a conversation, one that I'm still having with myself every time I watch. I think about how I'm drawn to the spectacle, how I get a rush from the stakes, but also how I feel uneasy about it. It's that push and pull that makes me love this kind of art. So, as you watch season 3, I encourage you to think about what draws you to Squid Game. What does it feel like to watch the VIPs go from spectators to killers? Does it make you question your own viewing habits, or is it just a wild ride? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories I love. Let's keep this conversation going.